it is revealed as they try to build Barstool Sports, a platform on authenticity by the common man for the common man. They started out fighting against the mainstream in sports, culture, society, and comedy, trying to be something that your everyday person could relate to, but in their transportation into superstardom, they revealed that they too are just like everyone else because they did not put enough effort into staying grounded to that mission, or the mission changed. The mission changed, and now their user base is starting to realize, because when you have built your number 2 star on a lie, and it is revealed by perhaps one of the best detectives of a generation, Kirk Minahan, the star of Barstool Sports production show The Case, where he dives into cold case murders and solves them in real time, years and years after all of the evidence has dried up. The leads have run dry. He dives back into the case and he cuts to the heart of the evidence and uses his insights to put together some plausible mystery that may have gone on, and wouldn't you know it, he is able to crack the case. And the case that he happened to crack during that episode of Barstool Survivor, they named the pink wedding, was that of Barstool's own Dan Katz, Big Cat, as a fraud, perhaps one of the biggest frauds to ever walk the sports media landscape at one of the highest levels. I mean, truly, this guy, when you think about him and PFT and Pardon My Take and how it unseated Sports Center as a go-to sports news coverage, stats, podcast, and replaced it in society and culture almost immediately as the number 1 go-to, not only for true, authentic, real interviews with athletes, but getting an experience that ESPN and mainstream media, or legacy media as we're calling it now, just weren't showing you the behind the scenes, how the sausage is made, peeing his pants on during interviews and going to extreme lengths to prove that he is the common man. Kirk sniffed all of that out. Because if Dan Katz, the biggest person in Chicago's sports media, is actually from Newton, Massachusetts, and was raised a Patriots fan, not a Bears fan, not a Chicago Bulls fan, not a Blackhawks fan, not a Chicago Cubs fan. He wasn't raised anything. Instead, it was the fucking Celtics. It was the Bruins. It was the Red Sox. Were you cheering on Tom Brady while I was sitting in the stands in January of 2001? On that cold January night, I remember how cold it was. Of course I remember. I was out there tailgating for hours and hours before that game. What game am I talking about? I'm talking about the Raiders game, motherfucker. That first playoff game. You know, the Snow Bowl. Well, I was standing there in the cold at age 11 watching my future hero Tom Brady take the reins and march the team team down the field, and so that Adam Vinatieri can tie the game up, send the game into overtime, and then Tom can lead him back down the field, and he can kick this ball, this pigskin, on the last night of game athletics going on in hallowed Foxborough Stadium, where we never saw any championships of our New England Patriots. Tom Brady can march down the field, and into that night, Adam Vinatieri can kick that ball where not even he knew where it would land, because you couldn't see it. You couldn't see it. That's how bad it was snowing that night, Dan Katz. Were you there, or were you watching it on TV, Dan? Were you cheering on my Patriots and Adam Vinatieri? I know you couldn't have been standing there in Foxborough Stadium on those bleacher seats that I remember so well. I remember how cold it was when I looked up into that night, and I didn't know. I did not know if the Patriots were going to have another playoff game. I had to rely on the fans. And as I looked up into that dark sky, as the flecks of white snowflakes were crumbing down on me, and I listened to the roar of New England Patriots fans after the year that we had September 11th, the same season that had started off that year that brought us all together as Patriots. I looked up and I cheered. And I knew that this was not the start of one championship. No, this is the changing of the guard. This is the beginning of something special. Something crazy, the electricity in that arena on that night. I don't know if it was the literal electricity from the atmosphere being carried down by the water molecules of the snowflakes. And in each one of those snowflakes, our consciousness, our desire after 80 years of no Red Sox championships, a crazy drought for the Boston Celtics and the Boston Bruins. Could this moment, could our electricity actually change the future that was written into sporting history? And then that tuck rule? Our electricity, the fans, everyone that was a true fan on that night, changed the stars. And they sent the New England Patriots and the city of Boston on an unprecedented run in athletics that was fueled by the consciousness, the pure belief of everyone inside of that city, inside of that region, New England, Boston, Titletown, all of the energy. Everyone knew it. Athletes came from around the country and around the world. They took less money just to participate in the electricity that was all started on that night. And I didn't even watch a Patriots game this year. I don't even consider myself a sports fan. What am I? I'm authentic. Right? I've changed. I no longer consider Tom Brady a hero. I consider anyone that does a crazy person. He's a psycho. One of the best at what he does, and I am so grateful to him for all of the amazing memories that I shared with my friends and family as we got to watch all of the incredible athletic feats that took place not only at Gillette Stadium, because they never took place again at Foxborough Stadium. That was the last game. But Fenway Park, the Boston Garden, and stadiums and field across the country, I was united with the people that I grew up with. I didn't so much care about the sport. I cared about the energy and the culture that it created and the happiness that you could feel in the streets. Because Boston was an amazing place to be around. New England was an amazing place to be around for 20 years. Oh, 20 years. It was beautiful. You gave all of that up. All of it. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Oh, man. When you look at Big Cat and all that he became, the life that he led as the largest media star in Chicago. Shit. I appreciate Big Cat. I love the authenticity that we get from athletes because Big Cat, PFT Commodore, Barstool Sports, Pardon My Tank, Hank Lockwood, everyone involved in that production, what it became and what it did for the concert, the consciousness and the culture. I appreciate Big Cat for all of it, but it reveals that it was built all on this lie of Newton Dan. Oh, Newton Dan, you're killing me, Newton Dan. Oh, it's tough. It sucks. But the internet's undefeated, motherfucker, and right now, so am I. I love Dan Katz. I love Barstool. I love Press. Just like I love Bill Burr, Tulsi Gabbard, and fucking Elon Musk before. But you gotta call a spade a spade. Whatever Barstool was, it's over now. All right, because you guys were full of shit when you started and you forgot that authenticity is the only thing that matters. I'm not saying that tomorrow you guys are all going to lose your jobs and the advertisers are going to dry up. What I'm telling you is this is an opportunity for you to reflect on the things that got you here, my friend. This is a massive opportunity for you people out there in the media space to understand that this is important. Authenticity is important because if we're not speaking authentically, then what are we doing? Why are you tuning into this? You should change the channel. When I am no longer being my authentic self, I hope that there is a very clear audience drop off, but I guess in order for me to see that, I'd need an audience, and I don't even have one of those, so who gives a fuck, Big Cat? This is just me alone in my room just saying, hey, motherfucker, get your shit together, all right? Because we love you in your role, so stop abusing it and reflect on what you have become, because I don't want to watch you in any more commercials, buddy. All right? I'm so tired of turning on a broadcast, whether it's Barstool or not, and seeing a fucking commercial, a Big Cat trying to sell me some poisonous soap or some caffeine so I can continue to avoid my problems like him, or some food that's going to give me kidney stones, right? Or so I can lose more of my money and time and consciousness and energy gambling. Oh, buddy, I love you, but this was a tough one. Maybe it's just tough for me. Hey, the bright side is maybe I'm the only one that gives a shit about it. All right? Maybe nobody else cares that you're a complete and total fabrication of your own creation that you created, but it just makes me wonder what the fuck else is there. That can't be the only thing. It's not possible. I don't believe that you're hiding one thing. I think there's a lot that you have covered up. And until the unconscious is made conscious, it will control your life and you will call it fate.